Pardon me, I'm hand holding this and don't mind that. See, when you're looking straight, you can't see the cables. That cable's managed. This, lately most of my gaming has not been on my main setup over here, but it's been over here. On this machine. Hiding down here in the floor is a little box full of modern hardware that's powering this CRT. I'm going to show you what's inside the box. We're going to talk about this setup over here, and we're going to talk about why I've been gaming here primarily as of late. Before we get started, let's head over to WhoKeys and unlock our copy of Windows. By using coupon code TS25, you can get 25% off these prices here. I use Windows 10 Pro. You can also get Windows 10 Home, and both of these will upgrade to Windows 11. You can get that. Also, note that the Windows 10 keys have been working with Windows 11. Google it and make sure that this is still a thing whenever you're purchasing your key. Also, I want to note that if you get Windows 10 Home and you upgrade it to Windows 11, they will force you to use an online account. With Windows 11 Pro, however, you can use a local account, just so you know. You can also get Office 2019 with that same discount, or if you like, you can get Windows 10 Pro and Office 2019 in a bundle and save even more. So go ahead and put TS25 in here as your coupon code, hit apply, and then you can see we can get Windows 10 Pro for $14.85. Once you're finished, if you want to access your key, you click on your name on the top right, click on User Center, and you'll see My Purchase Orders. Right here, you'll be able to view the keys that you've purchased just by clicking on View Keys and Codes. Then you will see your code right here. Just go ahead and copy this code, press Start, type Activate, and you'll see activation settings come up. Click on that. Then click Change Product Key. Right there, you can paste in your code and hit Next, and then you will be activated. It's very simple. So don't pay those retail prices for your copy of Windows or Office. Head over to whokeys.com and use coupon code TS25. See, I really did start putting this stuff together before COVID was a thing. You know, I was gonna like put together a whole little area down here so people come over and we could all just chill, and somebody could be playing over here and somebody could be playing games on, you know, on this 240p, some old emulators and stuff. But you know, COVID's kind of made this so that I'm the only one down here using this, which is weird. But this is where I end up spending a lot of my time, playing games from an era when fun mattered more than microtransactions. So I put together this retro gaming area. We're going to go through everything over here, but the main two things I want to focus on are the monitor and the sound system, because that's what keeps me coming back to this area to play my games. So shooting a CRT is a little difficult because, you know, they flicker and stuff. This is about as good as it's going to get. I've tried out two different cameras, and you'll see a couple different times where it switches back and forth between one camera and another and a couple different angles, so please forgive that. I also don't have any assistant here to help with the filming. All right, let's go through the artwork first. Start over here in this wall. What game is this from, huh? Anybody? Someone tell me in the comments. All right, then we've got our Zweihander Nitherin artwork. It's a two-piece, each one of those is 16 by 9, and two different pieces that extend. This is from the Zweihander music that I make, and this was designed by Chris Bonnell. You can look him up, it's awesome. Hey, Out of This World, or Another World, depending on what platform you played it on. I played it on the Super Nintendo first, and I love that soundtrack, but the Amiga version possibly looks a little better. Would you look at that? There's the Super Nintendo version. This game is completely awesome. If you have not played it, it changed gaming, so just go check it out. Very fluid. One of the first games to use 3D polygonal characters in a 2D world. No textures though, just filling in the blanks. I found this at the store, and it fit in this frame that I had left over, so yes, it's awesome. Look up here, who's this? What's Tom Hall doing? What's Tom Hall doing? No, but seriously, this is id Software. Got one signature on here. Check that out. Keep making games. Maybe I should start making games, but I'll keep this on the wall until I've made a few games, and then I can keep making games and look up here for inspiration. This reminds me of a better time in gaming when games were made by a handful of idiots, and they would just make something amazing, didn't have anyone telling them to make something more corporate, and compare that to nowadays where you have 1,000 people who make a microtransaction-ridden grind fest, more of a chore than a game, and then you know you can look back up here and be like, no, this is the gaming that I want to strive to be a part of. Right there, we got Vampire Hunter D over here, and that's one of the little phantoms or spirits from Spirited Away. More stuff over there. I'll save all the stuff over there for a future video. All right, to the desk, shall we? Take a look at this speaker. This is a Boston Acoustics Micro 90X. I know LGR has those really awesome Roland, the beige set of Rolands. Those are beautiful, and I almost got a set of those just because I love Roland. And then I found these locally. These came out in 1996, so they're not as old. And they're one solid piece of aluminum. Just one beautiful solid piece of aluminum, and they sound amazing. Like, there's not much in this size and from this era that sounds as good as these Boston acoustic speakers. They sound ridiculous. I've got one over there, and I've got one over here hiding in the dark. I'll turn that one around and show you that one in a minute, but first I want to show you the entire setup over here, because these are not powered speakers. So what I've done here is I've put together a little amp. I built this thing. It's a little Woozy audio kit you can get. It's got a board on the inside. It even has Bluetooth, which is kind of ridiculous. Just a newer little amp that you can buy. Got a big knob on the front. And then I have it wired. This is 100 watts times 2, so it doesn't need all that much power. You can power these things with far less, so I barely have to crank up the knob there, just barely at all. But yeah, it sounds really, really good. In fact, I think it sounds better than my set of studio monitors over at my desk, which is weird. And then I've got a little 4-port audio switcher. If I'm playing like the other computer or a console or something, I can switch, and they all go to this setup here. These things are beautiful. If you can find a set of these for 50, 60 bucks, I would highly recommend them. In fact, I think I might grab another set just to replace my big studio monitors over on my main desk. I don't have the banana plug on the back, but they are compatible with the banana plug. You can see the back, it's just really simple. They've got a mount, and they did not come with a stand. If you find them with a stand, that's even better, but you can mount them yourself if you like. These things sound amazing. All right, one thing I will say is they don't have quite as much bass as the Rolands that LGR recommends, that everyone talks about. And that's why in the floor, I picked up a Boston Acoustics subwoofer cabinet, and I've got that down here hanging out on the floor. And I don't know why these things sound so good. Boston Acoustics is ridiculous, and I got this for really cheap as well from someone on Craigslist. That's the same place I got these, just Craigslist of all places. In the dark down there, there's a computer. Let's actually go into the desk and show you what I've got going on down here, because I've got a bunch of stuff going on under the desk. So you may have seen out of the corner of your eye this over here. Oh, that's the HTC Vive. Thanks, Pistol. I forget what we traded, but I know she upgraded hers and was like, hey, you want my Vive? I don't need it anymore. And I was like, yeah, cool. I'm pretty cool. I'm too cool for the Vive, but I'll take it anyway. So I don't remember. She's going to edit this. So what did we trade for this? What did I give you? I don't remember. I sell you something, give you a camera? I don't remember. Anyway, the HTC Vive is also hooked up to this retro system because I like everything being over here in the corner. And I've got enough room behind me to move around. And then I've got some cable routing options under here. Hard to see there, but we got Ethernet down there for the couple of computers, power strips. And I want to show you what I like to do with these power strips here on the side. I don't believe in too much cable management, but I've done some. And this is just a keyboard mouse switcher, USB switcher right there. And then down here on the bottom, I always have a power strip for all of my lamps. And then whenever I get a new lamp, I need some more lamps for this area, I plug them in right here. So whenever I want to turn on my lights, I just switch on one power strip, and it does it all for me. Underneath the table here, I do have a little bit of cable management. It's mostly for the speakers because I don't want those to get uprooted or anything. So that's just a little bit of cable management, but most of it's kind of wild. I've got a few things tied up here underneath the desk, but that's what I've got going on underneath the desk. This is a sit-stand desk, but I'm mostly just sitting on this one. Hey, this lamp. Ooh. 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 This, let's look at it. Turn this shit on. Bought this thing at Goodwill for pennies. There we go, I can hold this thing. Hold still, you son of a... See this? This is my Windows XP rig. I like this computer, but it was too loud because of those 90mm fans. I had to put some Noctuas in there. Let's open it up and see what's on the inside. Oh, hi. Move. This is not broken. There. Oh, it worked. I don't feel like saying what it says on the... I could read this for you. 48 speeds, the CD, 8-speed DVD burner, but I'd rather just go, Oh, God, look at the filth. Is this what your life is like right now? Is this how you feel on the inside? Maybe you should drink a glass of water, you bastard. Yes. Perfect. Is that everything? Oh, these are the Fostech T50 RPs planar dynamic headphones. They're wondrous. A little bit warm sometimes, but you know, I don't wear them for that long. Plus these, I usually use these because they sound amazing. Okay, now it's time to look at the peripherals. This is the Syndicate wireless PC controller. And I like this because it's both direct input and X input, but I mostly used it with RetroArch, or RetroArch, whichever one you like. And if you want to switch between direct or X input, you just hold down the home button right here for a few seconds and it'll switch. I like it because it feels like a Super Nintendo controller and a PlayStation controller, and it has all the buttons in all the right places for the Xbox stuff. And this works perfectly with a lot of the arcades, so I still use this one, and I like the fact that it's wireless. I charge it when I'm done. This is the Syndicate mother membrane. It's the keyboard I use. One reason being because it's membrane, another because I use it a lot and I'm used to it. Another reason being because it's water resistant and I like to keep a drink nearby. If it falls on it or whatever, it's not a big deal. It'll just drain out the bottom. And then the last thing I like about it is it's really quiet. And when I went over to pick out the different keyboards, I picked the membrane switch that felt the poppiest, and I actually like these better than Cherry Reds and a few other Cherry switches. So I think it's a nice compromise for a price to performance ratio there. And then I can also change the color here. That turquoise is nice. Ooh. I'd keep it on purple, but whatever. You could put it on whatever you like or just turn off the color entirely. That's what I've got there of the Syndicate standard issue mouse. And the reason this is the standard issue and the reason I'm using it with this machine is because it has a very classic IntelliMouse shape. So it fits with someone who's grown up with that kind of stuff. Plus this fits my hand really well. And you can remap all the buttons with the software. Or if you wanted to change everything right on board here, with different button combinations, you can change. As you can see right now, it's cycling through all the colors. But just by holding down different button combinations in conjunction with the DPI buttons, you can change the LEDs right here without having to like mess with any software. So pick your favorite CPI or DPI and then change your LEDs by holding down some different buttons. All those instructions are included with the unit. So, and this is an infrared mouse with the 3310 sensor. That's what we have there. And then it's really faint, but can you see it? Can you see the fox? That's a Syndicate fox right there on the mouse pad. So you can grab all this stuff on epicpants.com. Like I said, I didn't mean for this to be an advertisement, but hey, it's what I'm using. And I'm not going to just position this here to not use it. Lastly, just hanging around, that's a switch dock in case I need it over here. Just nice to have one around. These are like a few bucks online and they work. This is a side monitor. It's mostly irrelevant. I use it just because I like to have a second monitor for everything. It's running at 2560 by 1440, even though it's a 4K monitor. And that allows me to have the 1440 resolution all the way across so I can drag and drop things without having things go off the edges. So the other reason is because when this runs at 4K, it only runs at 30 Hertz because it's a garbage, some cheap Dell monitor. But it's a nice side monitor and it's good for organizing stuff. I've got a light clamp back there with a gel on it. Just ignore that. Let's talk about this monitor a little bit. This is the Gateway VX1120. It's a rebranded Mitsubishi. I believe it's the 2020U. This is a 22-inch monitor. The max resolution on this, I've been able to push it a little bit farther than max, but 1920 by 1440, which is an awesome resolution. That's higher res than 1080p, but you get more vertical real estate as opposed to horizontal real estate. Now, 4:3 versus 16:9, I do think 16:9 is more immersive for most games. There's something very cozy about the 4:3 for some of the old games, but that's a subjective argument, and I do like gaming on an ultra-wide. So for the retro stuff, 4:3, I believe that I have a lot more fun with this. But there's something about CRTs, and I'm going to need to make an entirely separate video on this. CRTs feel smoother and they look better at different resolutions. If you get a like 1080p monitor, well, you're going to need to play most of your stuff at 1080p or pixel equivalents, or else it's going to look strange. You're going to have stretching and stuff. There's no pixels on this. You've got just electrons shooting at your screen. So when you change resolutions, the beam of light changes and you don't have to worry about matching the pixels up. So I found that most games look very similar at like 1280 by 1024, that's 5:4 resolution, but you know, at lower resolutions compared to the 1600 by 1200 or 1920 by 1440, they look very similar, especially with these games that do not have as many polygons as the modern games. So you can run them at lower resolutions and still get very smooth playback. And also, the way that CRTs work, they're going to feel smoother at much lower refresh rates. So even like 60 hertz is going to feel like 144 or more hertz on an LCD. It's going to look better as well. The motion is so much better on a CRT. I'll go into more detail in that when I talk about, should you buy a CRT for gaming in a future video coming soon. But now I want to say this has really got me over here. The fluidity, especially with old games and stuff, it feels awesome. I even started playing some Cyberpunk on this. I did feel a little limited by the aspect ratio because I'm used to playing it on an ultra wide, but it does feel different. It feels really smooth and everything. Now there's one thing I may need to change, and that is the active DisplayPort adapter. It doesn't seem to want to be able to support the super high resolutions. I guess it'll support like 1600 by 1200 at 60 hertz or 1080p at 60 hertz, but 1920 by 1440 at 75 or 85 hertz, it doesn't want to do that. Now, this one GPU does not support analog outputs. You have to run an active adapter, and I've got one coming in the mail with a really high frequency so it can support the higher resolutions and higher refresh rates. Right now, I'm just running it at 1600 by 1200 at 80 hertz, and it works perfectly. I haven't noticed any input lag or anything like that, so I was thinking about getting a 980, but I'm not going to get that. I'm just going to keep this one GPU to run everything. I've got an HDMI splitter sitting on top right there that I'm probably not going to use that for much, but that's just there in case I want to hook up a Senpai and test it on this screen. It quickly gives me access to that if I wanted to, or the other screen over here. I can just hook it up wherever. That's just there. Yeah, that's a girthy boy. So we've got the AMD 5600X as the CPU. And this is going to be a machine for a lot of different tasks, so that will be fast enough for pretty much any game, modern or old, of course. And that's on. Here we go. We got the BioStar A520MH, and that's a X570 motherboard. It's micro ATX. It would have been nice to go with full-size ATX, but I don't think I'm going to need to install any more PCI Express stuff. Hopefully not, because I'm out of slots. All right, so we've got the Gigabyte. This is the Eagle. It's one of their overclocked RTX 3060 Ti's. This was pretty difficult to get a hold of, but I managed to get one somehow. I forget how I got this, but I tried everything. I may have had to kill a few people, but it was worth it, yes. That's going to be fast enough to play anything on this machine, especially on this screen, because I'm only running this at 1600 by 1200 at the moment. Even though it'll do 1920 by 1440, which I need to order a new adapter, and I'm waiting on that to come in the mail. So 16 gigabytes of DDR4. Let's talk about the storage we have in here. We've got one Corsair. It's a 1 terabyte Neutron SSD. It's an older drive, but it still works just fine. Runs at regular SATA speeds because it's a SATA SSD. We've got a 2 terabyte Western Digital hard drive in there for storage. And then the last thing we have is our, it's the drive I installed Windows on. It's the Lexar 1 terabyte SSD. It's a M.2 SSD. And this one is a Gen 3, so it'll get up to about 3,500 megabits a second there on the read. Writes similar as well. If you're going to be doing retro stuff, you got to have a DVD writer. Is there space there? Oh, there's space for a floppy disk drive, so I might put one of those in there too. But yeah, got to have that optical disk drive for the retro stuff. I wanted to make sure I had backwards compatibility for EAX for all those old games, so now I do have a Creative Sound Blaster X5. I got the titanium, and I got it for $20 plus $4 shipping on eBay. Totally worth it. It's in there, and now I can play all my old games with all the EAX support that I need. The enhanced reverb and all that kind of stuff will work just fine. And for the operating system, I'm running Windows 10, and then I'm running OpenShell over here to give me this. This is a skin I've got on OpenShell. I'll show you the skin because it's a beautiful skin, just like your skin. The skin that I'm using for OpenShell is called Tenified. It kind of reminds me of like stop that. Kind of reminds me of Windows 10, but it's not quite Windows 10. It's still like clean and stuff, but I like it quite a bit. Very simple. And this is a start menu replacer to give it more of an old school. The idea with this rig is that I wanted something that could do everything from VR to modern games to really old games using mostly emulators. I really enjoy RetroArch support for DOS, especially with DOSBox Pure. So I haven't been using my Windows XP rig over there as much as I've been using this rig. There we go, hiding right there. That is a Sound Blaster X-Fi Titanium. There's that power supply. I really think I could upgrade my power supply, but I haven't noticed any problems yet. That'd be the next thing I might want to upgrade. So let me know what you think of this. Let me know what you would change in this setup. And remember, this is not a pure retro setup. It's a setup for multiple different applications. And you know, VR does work really well over here. So let me know what you think. Be sure to head over to epicpants.com to grab the controller and the keyboard and also the mouse and the mouse pad or whatever if you need it. Bye, everybody.